What is up, faithful? It is your boy Niner Sickness with the Niner Sickness podcast doing a Niners Vikings instant reaction. Well, I don't know if it's too instant because I'm coming on a little bit late, but we have a great show tonight. We have a Vikings fan as my guest tonight, and he'll give his interpretation of his Vikings, talk a little bit about his Vikings, and we'll talk about the game tonight right after this. What's up? Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. How's everybody doing? Let's see who's here. We got Robert Davis in the house. How you doing, Robert? Welcome to the show tonight. We got David, the man, the myth, the legend himself tonight. How you doing, sir? Always an honor to have you. We have Mariah, faithfully the queen of football. Welcome to the channel. We have Cherie. Cherie, how you doing, girl? Long time in OC. Welcome to the channel. We got No Boater Sports, Mr. Ryan himself, hanging in there with us. How are you doing? Welcome, Trey Henderson. Welcome. We got David Villa in the house. How you doing, David? And then we got Facebook user that does not show your name, unfortunately, but welcome to the channel. Before we get started, make sure to wipe your feet before entering and smash that like button for your boy, Niner Sickness. So I have a great guest. He's a friend of mine. He's a Vikings fan. He's going to tell you about his Vikings. Who knows better about the Vikings than a Viking fan? So it is an honor to have my guest tonight. What's up, Moses Martinez, the deep back disciple? You must have been happy tonight with the D-backs. Welcome. So let me go ahead and bring in my boy with no further ado tonight. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the channel.
Hey, Beto, how you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm doing good, brother. Welcome to the channel. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Niners and Vikings today. We both know it's preseason. We know that it means absolutely nothing when it comes to the real season. But there are things you can take from these games, particularly coaching, players running their routes, if they're receivers, are they hitting the gap? Certain little things that you see. So I wanted to start out as you, my guest. Let us know a little bit what your thought about your Vikings, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, I thank you for having me on. I do represent Climbing the Pocket, which is the SB Nation's Daily Norseman's broadcast arm. I am producer Dave over there, Dave Stefano. I do almost all the shows you see live on YouTube. You can come join us. Beto has joined me before on shows when we've gotten together, and I thank you for allowing me to come on. Now, what do I think of the Vikings? We are under a new regime, and the whole talk is about collaboration and cooperation, and everything is nice and rosy and rainbows and sprinklies and all sorts of fun stuff like that. There has been some changes, and the attitude so far this season looks fantastic. We are all excited about it. However, there's still some question marks open, and we have some guys fighting for roster positions, and that's where this preseason game came into play. The Vikings sat 27 players, virtually every single starter did not play tonight. I know it was the same for the 49ers. And as fans trying to watch it on TV, that's sort of difficult. But we did get to see the backup players play. Now, do I wish had cameras on the Wednesday, Thursday practice? Oh, you bet you I did. But we didn't. But tonight, we got to see some of the backups, some of the guys trying to make the team, some of them fighting for starting positions, and see how well they did. I was impressed with some of the players on your team, Beto, that played extremely well.
At that point, if I may ask, which player, and if you don't know the name, that's fine. Just give me the name of the jersey or the number of the jersey. But who impressed you?
Well, for one, was it Stenham, your backup quarterback?
Nate Stuffield, number 7 or number?
Yeah, the one who started the game.
Oh yeah, Nate Stuffield, yeah, our backup.
He was doing fantastic. I mean, you guys were getting drives down the field consistently, and I thought our defense played well at times. We had like 3 inside the 20 stops, but for the most part, you guys were doing well, and to me, that's impressive because I know our backup defense is better than our backup offense, and you guys did well. Now, once our offense got on the field, your defense basically had a field day.
Yeah, we did struggle though in the beginning to complete on third downs. We did not complete third downs as much as I would have wanted them to. Now, I don't take that away from the quarterbacks that were playing, Brock Purley and Nate Suffield, because there were a lot of drops. There were a lot of drops by our receivers, some warranted, some not. And I forgot how many third downs we did not complete. And then I know we were 0-2 in fourth down. So they definitely got to clean that up. But it seemed like in the third quarter, after Brock Purley completed his first third down, they kind of took off. The offense started to go in rhythm and started to move the ball, and our running back started to run a little bit better. And the kid that I'm very excited about is our undrafted free agent, Jordan Mason. I think this kid is special. I think he's going to compete for the 53-man roster. And then in our offensive line, we have a kid that is 6'1". Now, 6'1" is not short, but for an offensive lineman, might as well be short, right? Might as well be my Kyler Murray. But this guy, he anchors down good. He doesn't let nobody get by him, and he's a great run blocker that I seen today. He made some great blocks, and that really inspired me. Now, that's a kid that I don't want to cut and hopefully bring back to the practice squad. Hopefully then I understand him. But on your side, your front seven looked pretty good. You guys brought some pressure. I understand, like you said, you were 27 out. I believe we had 26 players out. I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat can correct me, but I know they were pretty close to that. So I expected mistakes to be made on both sides of the ball. Now, I want to ask you, as a Vikings fan, that goal line fumble from Brock Purley, number 14, your guy was offsides, and it should have been called. Right or wrong?
From the camera view I saw, which was overhead, I couldn't see the ball. It looked like T.Y. McGill got off a little early, but being a nose guard, and we play the 3-4 defense rather than the 4-3. He was right up there on the nose. That football's only 12 inches from his face. So if the center moved it just a little bit, that's enough for him to go. Now, did he time it and go? From the camera angle, because I couldn't see the ball, yes, it did look like it was offsides.
Yeah, unfortunately, on calls like that where it's a judgment call by the referees, they're non-reviewable. Now, given that it was a preseason game, we won the game, which
cares?
Honestly, whether we win or lose, it doesn't. There's pride in winning because, my team won, but it's preseason.
It's preseason and none of the starters played.
Exactly. So I rather see individual accolades of players than a win or loss. Now, if you get both, that's just kind of cream on top of the cake. But in a regular game, that would have been upsetting, that particular play. But it is what it is. Purley has to be a little bit more careful with that ball. Now, your guys were hitting. So let me ask you, your first time coach, young guy.
Kevin O'Connell.
I think he came from the Rams, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. He was their offensive coordinator.
So what are your thoughts about him so far? How good do you think he can make your offense from compared to last year?
They're taking that same McVay style of offense. They're going to put people in motion. He likes to talk about multiples and deception. And I think it's going to play well. It already has struck a chord with our wide receivers, and we've got some very good ones. Obviously, Justin Jefferson being the best, Adam Thielen being our wide receiver 2, and they are loving it. KJ Osborne is our wide receiver 3. It's good. Our tight end, Irv Smith Jr., has been out with torn ligaments in his thumb. He should be ready for week 1. That'll fit in, even though the Rams didn't play a tight end a whole lot. And we also have a fullback to go with our Dalvin Cook in the backfield. I think our offense is going to be guaranteed top 10, most likely top 5. They're that good.
Interesting. And that run game, people keep forgetting who your running back is and how good he is. And I think he was pretty good last year. And I think he'll continue that to go with that. And listen, ever since you guys drafted Jefferson from LSU, I love this kid. I think this kid has always played well. I love his attitude. I love the way he carries himself. Great player off and off the field. I want to know from you that cover the Vikings, obviously, what are your thoughts of him and your impressions of him so far? Not just his skill set as a player, but as a person.
So far as a person, he's been wonderful. He's great with the community. He's great with kids. There's been no distractors. It's not like Randy Moss and some of the distractions we had when he was playing, right? Of hitting the parking meter lady, with his car and doing silly stuff and arguing with press. There's nothing like that with JJ. JJ has been just an outstanding young football player like you would like to have on the team. When it comes to skills, though, his goal is 2,000 yards this season, and I think he can make it.
I like that. And I believe I got one of your, I don't know if he follows you, but he seems to be a Viking fan, Ryan Ortega. Welcome to the channel.
He is one of our co-hosts on our Wednesday show, Vikings Happy Hour.
Wonderful.
He is also a born and raised Sooner fan.
Sooner.
To his detriment.
So he likes Kyle Murray, the little guy.
Yes, he does.
Let's see here. He asked a question. I want to try to answer to the best of my ability. He says, what's Niners fans feeling about Trey Sermon? I'm not impressed. Honestly, for being a 3rd round pick, us moving into the 3rd round last year, trading with our MSS, the Rams, and getting him from Ohio State. I'm not impressed with him. His catching is, he hesitates to hit. I like the runners like Jordan Mason, where he just boom, boom. He sees the hole and he hits it straight forward. Trey Sermon tends to hesitate for a second, and that's all it takes for defenders to stop him to the direction that he's going. So I'm pretty sure that my fellow Niner fans in the chat can address that question for you, Ryan, in their own opinion. But in my opinion, if you ask me, as a Niner fan, I am not that impressed. I am more impressed with Jordan Mason and what Jordan Mason has done so far. Hopefully, Trey Sermon can turn it up for us. But he hasn't impressed me at all. He hesitates to hit the hose. His catching ability is not that good in my opinion. So a lot of times you hit and miss with running backs, unfortunately. So hopefully they can fix him. They can fix him a little bit, but it's not looking too hot. But thank you for Ryan for the question, and thank you for supporting my boy here and coming in and supporting the channel tonight. You're welcome and glad to have you here, Ryan. So let me ask you, brother, your defense, your front, particularly your front seven, with the addition of Jadarius Smith. How good do you think this defense can be? That front seven part.
The front seven, you're looking at Zadarius Smith on one edge, Daniil Hunter on the other. When they were both healthy back in 2019, they had over 100 pressures apiece. If they stay healthy this year, they're going to be the best edge duo in the league. Our interior, we have a new guy. We picked up Phillips from the Buffalo Bills. He looks good at nose. We have Dalvin Tomlinson in that traditional sort of five technique, what is called a defensive end, but a five technique defensive tackle-ish. And we have a young guy, Armon Watts, who's in his third season at the other side. The weakest of those five is Armon Watts. But he's still talented. He needs to work on his pass rush some more and also his run stopping, but he's good. When it comes to our linebackers behind him, we have Kendricks and now the new guy we picked up from from the Cardinals, and I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head, and they will be fine. They're going to be fine. Our weakest spot is probably our corner depth. We have Patrick Peterson on one side. We have Dantzler, Tiny Needle. He's called a Needle. We call him Tiny Dantzler on the other side, and he's real skinny dude. But he's good. He's fair. Peterson is fair, obviously Pro Bowl Hall of Fame bound, but he's over the hill. For nickel, we have a guy we pulled off the Packers who's like, okay. And then at safety, we have, of course, Hitman Harrison Smith, and we have Cameron Bynum from last year. And we just drafted Lewis Seen off of Georgia this year, we hope he gets the starting job eventually, but Cameron Bynum's playing better than he has. So he's not gonna win it immediately.
Okay.
But there's an improvement. We have improved in the secondary versus what we had last year.
That's good. That's definitely, especially in a division with Aaron Rodgers. You definitely want to improve that, because even though Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Devontae Adams anymore, he is Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's highly as Packer fans think of him. He might as well be the second coming of Green Bay. And you know that all too well, being a Vikings fan.
There's only two teams that had, well, actually three teams that had back-to-back Hall of Fame quality quarterbacks. Green Bay, Brett Favre rolled into Aaron Rodgers. You can say that Indianapolis had it when they went from Manning to what's his name that retired early because of the shoulder, and the other one is San Francisco when you went from Montana to Young.
Montana to Young. Those were the days, man, when you could do that. Now it's kind of hard to have two Hall of Fames in one roster with a salary.
Well, it's hard to have one.
It's hard to have one, much less two going from Montana to Steve Young. I think Niners were kind of, the old Niner fans were kind of spoiled with having two top quarterbacks sitting amongst each other and moving on. But then Young retires because he got hurt, and we were okay with Jeff Garcia. We're like, oh, okay, this is not too bad. But after Jeff Garcia, until we hit a little bit of Alex Smith and Kaepernick, oh my God. Did we get reminded that, yeah, quarterbacks are important for sure.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And with that being said, on that note, I'm hoping that Trey Lance could develop into that quarterback that we want him to be. Yes, he doesn't have that many throws in his career. Yes, he hasn't played that much football. And yes, he is definitely a question mark going into this season. But I think, and this is my personal thoughts, that going into the roster that he's going with, the run game, that receivers that he has at his disposal, a decent offensive line, number 5 at least, and very best 3 or number 1 defense this year, and a play caller like Kyle Shanahan, I think Trey's coming into a great situation to learn and become well. And I think that just his learning ability, learning how to quickly process, being a quick processor, identifying what the defense is doing is something you can't teach a quarterback. Throwing the ball accurately, you can work on that, but anticipating what the defense is doing, making the audibles on the offense, looking at the linebacker, where are the linebackers? Are they coming in? Are they going out? Those are the things you can't teach, and this young man has it. This young man has that ability to process and process quickly. I don't know how much you know of Trey Lance or of what you heard, but what are your thoughts of this young man, and what, in your opinion, if he's continued to do well, how far do you think this kid can go?
Well, first off, Trey Lance was a draft crush of mine a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
We know a lot about him because he played at NDSU.
Yes.
Obviously, which is a big football name in the area. It's NDSU was Division II, now it's Division I, whatever. And
I know.
And Minnesota are the two big powerhouses in the local area up in Minnesota. And we saw Trey Lance just demolish teams when he was there. And then he went into the draft. And we were looking for, what I like about Trey Lance is the way football has evolved over time. We're now getting to the more mobile quarterback, the more the quarterback can think fast, can do things, has a bigger repertoire, like Patrick Mahomes down in Kansas City, right? Can do things like that, gives your team a better opportunity to win, and win in the long run consistently. So I wish the Vikings had drafted Trey Lance. They did not. Different regime. New regime now, all smiles. But they did not. I like, from the clips I saw and the reporting I saw, and I have buddies that are beat writers that were out there at TCO training facility, what he did, especially on Wednesday, was eye-opening, right? He was hitting long balls. He was putting balls in small windows against our ones, and our ones are good. And he was doing everything you'd want from a starting quarterback that's going to win and win often in this league. Now, he cooled off a little bit on Thursday from what I read, but if the game was Wednesday, it would have been a really, really entertaining football game. So I think the future for the Niners is bright. Very, very bright. I think you guys have a chance, or most likely going to win your division.
Interesting.
Because of Trey Lance. Now, is he going to have some growing pains? And are you going to, have a heart attack late in the game because he throws a bad pass? Sure, right? It's his first season. But he's going to grow through that. But I think what he brings on the other end, on that ability to move, the ability to run, the ability to make decisions quick, is going to be more beneficial, especially in the long run. And the more games you play, the better he gets.
Exactly. The more reps the young man gets, the more he can, learn from watching film. It's all about building that film that you can look at and see, okay, this is what I did right. This is what I did wrong. Oh my, I should have did this instead of that. And that's how young players get better. And we definitely have the defense to bail him out if he does make a mistake here or there, where we can get the ball back to him. Now, the bar is not set high to replace Jimmy G. We're keeping it 100%. It's not like he's replacing Kaepernick or Alex Smith or Jeff Garcia even. He's replacing Jimmy G. And I know that a lot of people from the outside are like, why do the Niners hate Jimmy G so much? Especially if Jimmy G took him to the NFC Championship twice in a Super Bowl appearance.
Good question. Yeah.
What people don't realize, unless you're inside the Niners, is that Jimmy did not screw it up totally compared to the other quarterbacks that we had before, the ones that we have today, and Mullins and I can't even think of the other kid's name right now. They were terrible, and the defense carried Jimmy. The defense carried Jimmy in a lot of those games. If I asked people, name me 3 games that the Niners won specifically because of Jimmy, they couldn't name him. Now, if I say how many games the Niners won with Jimmy, we can name quite a bit. But if I say specifically, when the game was on the line and the ball was on Jimmy's hands, how many games did we win because of Jimmy? And it's very few, if any. So those are the reasons why we're moving on from Jimmy. Trey brings that element of where he can extend the play with his legs. He's not a runner, as a lot of people think he is. He's Josh Allen can run. Trey Lance can't. But he's able to move enough where he's always looking down the field. And even though he doesn't have the quick release like Jimmy, I think he makes that up with his legs and the ability to get out of pressure. One thing I like about Trey is that when pressure comes, he likes to step into the pocket and avoids a lot of sacks that way. Jimmy stepped out into a defender. So Jimmy turned around and boom, there's a defender. Trey likes to step in. And you like, when you have pocket quarterbacks, you want them to step into the pocket because that buys you just enough time you can dinky dunk it to your running back, or you can throw it on a screen pass to your slot receiver coming in the slot. There's so many things you can do when you step in. And this is the things that Trey Lance can do that Jimmy didn't. So are there going to be growing pains? Absolutely. Am I saying Super Bowl? No. But I don't think this is me personally. I don't speak for nobody else but me. If we make the playoffs, or how far we make, one thing. If we don't even make the playoffs, for example, but if I seen growth from week 1 to week 17 from Trey Lance, if I look at the all 22 and I see this kid develop, I see this kid grow within my own eyes and watch him change and correct mistakes along the way. To me, even if we don't make the playoffs, it's a successful season from Trey Lance's standpoint. Now, as a fan, I want to make the playoffs. As a fan, I want to go deep in the playoffs. But I'm also one that wants to see the growth. Now, if we can see the growth of Trey and make it to the playoffs, hey, I'm not arguing that. But a lot of people say that if Trey doesn't take the Niners to an NFC Championship game, because that's where we were last year, that it's a bust, that Trey's a bust. And I don't understand how can people say that, whether they're Niner fans or not. Particularly a player takes about, 3 years to kind of get a true identity of what that player is going to be like. I just want to see growth. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think that if we don't make the playoffs, but Trey Lance grows, should we consider that a loss?
Well, everybody wants to make the playoffs. Now, I believe both our teams are in well positioned to make the playoffs this year. Will we be Super Bowl contenders? Probably not. Everything would have to go exceedingly well for that to happen. But I expect us to be there. Luckily, we're in the NFC. The NFC this year is weak, relatively speaking. But if you have a quarterback that sits there and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and then something else happens and you guys don't win the games you're supposed to, say, like's happened to the Vikings too many times. You got a kicker that suddenly gets the yips, right? And you lose a game because he shanks one off to the left, right? Is that Lance's fault? No. So, is it the coach's fault? No. It is what it is. People get hurt. You can start out the season great, and then the entire offensive line can get hurt, and you're pulling guys off the street. We had that happen in
Oh,
2016.
we did it last year in our corner.
And the fact that you have seasons like that, teams have seasons like that. But if your star player, and quarterbacks is by far the most important player on a football team, if he grows and he improves and you see him getting better, all right, say his average time to release a ball is 3.5 seconds, right? And by the end of the season, his average time to release the ball is just under 3 seconds. That's an improvement. Is he making the right reads? Is he going to the first read, the second read, the third read? Or is he instantly, if the first read's taken, checking down, right, to the running back in the flat instead of going progressive-wise or taking the time to make sure his wide receiver will be open. Doesn't have to be open when he sees him, just will be open. Trusting the wide receiver. Deebo Samuels is cruising down the field and he's got a defender right here. But if Trey Lance knows that if the defender is right here, right on Deebo's shoulder, in 3 steps, Deebo's got him beat. So he lost that ball at a place that only Deebo can catch it, right, over the top. If he makes those types of decisions, that is a good thing because that sets you up for next season and the season after and the season after. And like I said, if you can find that gem of a quarterback, you want to keep him, right? You've had 2 in your career, in your history, my lifetime, Montana and Young. If you can find a third, you guys are going to be rolling. And I think Trey Lance can be that guy.
I like you and appreciate you that analysis, my friend. I have a question here from our number 1 49er fan. He's our greatest Niner fan. He's a Rams fan, so he loves to pick the bear, if you will. His question for you is, as he says, my question for your Viking guest: can you speak about how the Vikings number 1s on the defensive line crumbled the Niners starting O-line over and over in workouts between both teams?
How they crumbled the Niners?
They
beat them?
Yeah.
Harrison Phillips, our new nose guard in the middle, is an absolute fire plug. He was causing all sorts of problems. Dalvin Tomlinson on his, generally on his right, the offense's left. And then with the 2 defenses or 2 edges we have, Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter, you're going to be hard to find a front defensive line that is much better than that. You guys have a real good one. Very, very good. And there are some teams with very good lines, but we have a very good line. And right now in this present evolution of football where, we're passing more and we're doing this, I harp on it because I'm an O-line guy. I think O-lines are behind the power curve when it comes to play. They're just now within the last 5 or 6 years starting to start O-line camps and doing things in college that might help them, but they moved away so much in college from the typical NFL style O-lineman and how they do things. It takes O-line longer to build up than it does that defensive tackle or that defensive edge guy. And so I think that's where the advantage comes. It's going to be interesting. But if you have a guy like Trey Lance in the back and you have a coach that can call good plays, which you guys do, you guys can scheme around that. It's that simple.
And I like
it's going to take a while for O-lines to gel.
Correct. And for my friend Rudy, which is the Rams fan, the
Mhm.
number one Niner fan here in the chat, let him know. I know you said this earlier. I don't think he was in when you mentioned it. Let him know how Trey Lance looked on Wednesday. From what you
Trey
heard.
Lance looked extremely good on Wednesday. That's from my buddies who are beat writers for all over the Viking sphere. They work for all the major publications in Minnesota, all the radio stations, everything else. He looked extremely good.
There you go, Rudy. There you go. He's
And that's against, you know, Harrison Smith is a multi-year, 7-time Pro Bowler, right? And he's throwing against guys like him. Patrick Peterson's obviously been, I think, 7 or 9 times to the Pro Bowl. That's We've got some quality defensive backs. Yeah, we've got some young ones, but we also have some quality ones. And Trey Lance was throwing extremely well on Wednesday. He cooled off a little bit on Thursday, though.
yeah, and that is going to happen with a rookie, in the sense where it's a second year, but he's technically still a rookie, starting for us this year. But there's a lot of upside, and I can handle with that. And I know that
Well, you
if
got to
Trey Lance,
remember
go ahead. I'm sorry.
those two joint practice days, they were hitting at full speed.
Yes.
It's like playing back-to-back football games.
Yep.
So
I took more from those joint practices than anything that I took on today's game. Though today's game is nothing. It was just for the fans to watch, for evaluation of what player is going to make the team, who's not going to make the team, what players are going to make another team's roster, and stuff like that for scouting people. But in my opinion, and I think you agree with me, the 2 days that they practice jointly was more meaningful and had the starters out there going against one another. And kudos to both teams. I believe that there was no fights. They both conducted themselves professionally, and that's what I like to hear. That's well-coached teams. They can take care of their guys, and their guys doesn't heat up. And I saw competition. I saw the Niners defense kind of getting a little out of hand, pushing your offense a little bit. And I know your offense was not having it, but that's just our defense. Our defense is nasty. Our defense plays nasty.
And that's great. And I want my offense to play nasty. And it turned out that our center, which is the weak point on our offensive line, Garrett Bradbury, was one that almost threw a punch. He came real close. He checked it up. Yes. And but that's football. Football's an emotional sport. You want it to be, especially in the trenches. And it's just you've got to have it that way. From what I saw, and I played when we were watching Wednesday and Thursday, I looked at both sides of the house. Of course, I was getting all the feeds from my Vikings sides and my Vikings buddies and stuff that are doing their stuff. But I hopped over and looked at, the Niner side and looking at what was coming across Niner Twitter. And I was looking at what was coming off Niners Wire or whatever the USA Today version of their deal is. And all the different publications to see how they were looking at it. Because some of it was, everything is great over here. And then on your side is everything's great over here. And it's like, no, we know there's a little bit of mixture of both. But what I've loved to have seen is both of us matching up in a game. Because I think we are very overall equally matched. We got talented everywhere. I think both teams can win their divisions, and I think both teams can make a run in the playoffs. And maybe we'll meet in the playoffs. It's not the first time.
And I believe both teams can win their respective divisions this year if we have good play from our quarterback. Kirk Cousins, I think he's going to really enjoy your new offensive coordinator. I mean, your coach.
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell, thank you. His name slipped my mind for a minute, but he was great. And Rudy will tell you if he's still in here, because that's his old offensive coordinator for his Rams. And he did great play calling over there. So there's certain teams that I don't dislike. There's certain teams that I don't mind them being successful. And one of them has always been the Vikings. My father-in-law favorite team is the Vikings. I met I forgot his name, and we're not close by any means, but through a church that I was going through before, that pastor is really good friends with one of the second guys in command of the Vikings. I forgot what his name is, but he's like the second guy in command, and I got to meet him and take pictures with him, and he gave my friend a helmet because my friend's a Vikings fan, helmet of your I forgot his name. He was number 69, pass rusher. He's retired now.
Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen. Thank you. And so it was kind of nice. And so there's teams that I don't dislike. Like the Packers, I kind of dislike because of all the fan base and the crazy fan base. Always, the second coming, Aaron Rodgers. It don't matter if they don't have a defense. It doesn't matter if they don't have a run game. It doesn't matter if they don't have receivers. Long as they have Aaron Rodgers, they're going to win it all.
And they always talk about the umpteen championships they won and all this blah, blah, blah. And it just happens to most of them were probably in the 40s. But
well, talk about those championships. They really don't count because there was 6 teams playing each other like arena football. When there's only 6 teams and you have the best roster out of those 6, well, guess what? You're going to win a lot of championships.
Yep.
But when now you start playing Super Bowls with a lot of teams that are good, all they have is what? 4 Super Bowls. So what happened to that? All those championship winning teams. Now, why can't they get all these Super Bowls? Oh, I know why. Because the 49ers getting in their way in the playoffs for the last few times. They're you love that, bro.
Yes, I do.
Take them out.
Oh, yes. Anytime Aaron Rodgers loses is a good day for me.
It doesn't matter how good they are in the regular season. Once they meet the Niners in the playoffs, I believe we beat them the last 5 times in the playoffs that we met. They just can't beat us. And even the game last year where they should have won, our offense stunk. And it took our special teams, which is ironic because we had the second worst special teams. They had the number 1 worst special teams. And the second prevailed over the worst. And we won it basically because of special teams. So that I found that ironic because I truly believe if it wasn't for that special team play, we probably would have lost that game to them because we couldn't really score. But people say, well, it was a special team. I go, it was. Ultimately, that's the reason why we won. But after they went down in the first and scored a touchdown, guess what? D'Amico Ryan says, okay, I see what you guys are doing. Guess what they couldn't do anymore? They couldn't score anymore on the Niners. Our defense stepped up, and we were all over Mr. Irrelevant Aaron Rodgers over there with his hair, walking with his white shirt, looking from the guy from Con Air. You know what I mean? It's like, give me a break, guys. And the Cowboys, I just like because back in the 80s, we all know that back then in the NFC, it was the Cowboys and Niners. Who cared who played in the AFC? Who cared who played in the NFC? The Super Bowl was truly played in the championship game. And unfortunately for us, the Cowboys had the better of those wins. And then the Cowboys fans are also like Packer fans. They're very annoying. I'm pretty sure every fan base is annoying. I'm pretty sure to other teams, Niner fans are annoying. That's just how it is. But there's certain fan bases.
They may be annoying. They're not rude.
Yeah, but
if you've ever been to Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Philly and the Raider fans, man. I'm telling you, after the first quarter, they should stop selling beer in Vegas. Forget about the third quarter, first quarter, because these guys, they're already coming drunk, and they're coming out with blades. And I'm like, and it's a preseason game. Oh, yeah, they stabbed one fan stabbed another in a Niner and Raiders preseason game.
Wow.
Not that it's okay to do that in a regular season game. I don't care if it's a playoff game.
Yeah, but
you don't stab anybody.
Be carrying weapons into the stadium.
But what's the mentality that, oh, you talk crap about my team? What? And you're going to stick somebody because they talk bad about your team that doesn't pay you anything You have no, you know what I mean? You have no part, at least Packer fans, I hate to say it, they have what you call shares of the team.
Right.
And I give them that. But other fan bases is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You go to jail now because you couldn't handle your liquor. And they made fun of your team. And now you made, I never understood that, brother. But I know it's late, especially where you're at, my friend. And I truly appreciate you coming on as my guest, especially at the last minute. Thank you for responding. But I know you're tired and it's been a long day.
I am.
Yeah, I saw that. And out of respect for you, because I can keep on and on and on. It's been 45 minutes. So I'm going to be a man of my word. I'm going to let you go. But before I go ahead and let people know if they want to know, for whatever reason, they want to know about the Vikings or they want to interested how the Vikings are doing, how can they plug into your channel?
Okay, I will tell them that. But first, there was a remark 2 or 3 remarks ago talking about Mon looking scared and like Mannion better.
You caught that, huh?
Yes, I did.
You're good.
If you want honesty, they're both not backup quarterback quality. We don't be surprised if the Minnesota Vikings go sign another quarterback.
There's Jimmy Garoppolo.
If you guys release him and pay him all his money and he comes on the market free, we might. But no. But where you can find me is I am the executive producer of Climbing the Pocket. We talked about you stepping up in the pocket. That's how our podcasting organization got its name, because we complained about quarterbacks that didn't climb the pocket when they had space. We're Climbing the Pocket. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. We are partners with SB Nation's Daily Norseman. Okay. I know SB Nation has a Niner site. SB Nation's Viking site is the Daily Norseman. We are their podcast arm. We do most of their shows. You'll see them all there. All you got to do is go to the Daily Norseman if you want to go there. Like I said, YouTube. You can find us on all the podcast aggregators. Podcasts usually go up the day after the shows. We have live shows 5 days a week. Sometimes it's up to 7 or more, but 5 days a week, just like Beto. Beto and I both use Ecamm. That's where we met, and we love football. So if you want to talk Vikings football, you can find me online. My Twitter handle is at Luft, Luft _Krieger, Krigare. I am so old, I have an underscore and an alias. That's how long I've been doing this for over two decades. And Luft Krieger means air warrior in Norse. And that comes from the fact that I was in the military and the Air Force for almost 2.5 decades. So that's where you can find us. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Everywhere you guys are, we're at as well. So anytime you have a Vikings question, shoot me a line. I'll be more than happy to answer it.
And I appreciate that, my friend. And what I like about their show, honestly, is him and their guest and his guest are very informed about their team. They're not just a bunch of Viking fans sitting there being homers and, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback to ever play football stuff. They'll tell you exactly how they feel based on what they see. They're very honest. They bring a lot of great points. A lot of times I want to know what's going on in the North with the Bears and the Lions and so forth. I can get that perspective from them because they see them twice a year. And also, if I want to see how the Vikings are doing, I can go to their show and learn so much. So if you guys are just love football in general, check out his channel because it's very informative and you'll get a lot of great points. At least I do, bro. And even though I'm not a Vikings fan, I do watch your show religiously because I love you. Yeah, I love you and your guests. You guys bring great points. And I love watching shows that are not just sitting there and Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins or your running game or, you guys, you've been hard on Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah. He's Not a
right?
favorite of mine. Oh
Exactly.
yeah,
So you'll tell it the way it
but
is.
I do believe he's going to have a good season this year.
I
So,
agree.
and I want him to. The man is physically gifted. His problem is not his talents. Now, granted, he's not a running quarterback. He's slower than that, but he can move, um, at least when he has to.
Yeah.
But it's Kirk Cousins' problem has always been mental. And it's not that he can't process. He processes just fine when it comes down to who I'm throwing to, running through the progression. All that's fine. He can read a defense before, lining up. He's great at that. It's when things go off script that he tends to have his problems. Hopefully, with Kevin O'Connell as our new head coach, he will transplant Kevin O'Connell's brain and Kirk Cousins' body, and all that will be solved, and we will be Super Bowl bound as we beat you guys in the NFC Championship game, and all will be good.
Look at him. Threw that nugget right at the end. I love it. I love your confidence. Hey, you wouldn't justify being a fan if you did not believe in what your team is doing. And you guys are, I see you guys are very happy about your new regime. And why not? Because the guy you had before, oh my goodness.
Oh, I love Mike Zimmer, but his time and
he's very old school, and he wouldn't change a lot of the old school things.
Right.
He wouldn't catch up with what's going on today.
And he got bombarded from the outside. It's just, that's a whole other episode.
10 years ago, he would have been great. 10 years in the future, as of today, not so much. And we found that out. But okay, my friend. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Once again, thank you for coming on to my show, brother. I appreciate. I have nothing but respect for you and your crew and what you're doing over there. The best of luck in your season, brother. That you guys will have a wonderful, injury-free season to all your players, and take care of that North, my friend, and beat those Packers. And we'll be waiting for you in the playoffs to take you out.
Yeah, because we don't play each other during the season. So
we'll do what we did last year.
Yes.
Or the year before. No, in 2019, I should say. But
so what do Niners fans say when they say goodbye?
What do Niner fans say when they say goodbye?
Go Niners?
Oh, bang, bang, Niner gang.
Bang, bang, Niner game?
That's right. Bang, bang, Niner gang. If you notice, oops, where is it?
I noticed a hashtag I didn't see before.
Yeah,
it shows the.
I'm trying to find it here. I got here we go. You see, I see Mr. Nick Bosa down there.
Yeah,
saying "Bang Bang Niner Gang." That's our little thing that we got going on. Boy, I got to get new glasses. I have glasses, prescription glasses, and I'm still trying to find things. But that's normally. I know you guys say skull, and I never understood that honestly. Before I let you go, I know it's late, and I won't keep it longer. But in your opinion, what does that really represent? Skull.
Well, it's basically the Norse version of saying cheers. With a drink. It's skull. And normally we have a beer, a mead, a wine, or whatever, right? And that's where it comes from. There is a history and there is a lore behind it, as in score developed from skull, and you drink from the skull of your enemies, especially if you're in Valhalla, right? The whole Norse mythology sort of deal. But it's basically the Norse version of cheers.
Okay, well, I hope you guys will be scolding a lot Green Bay Packers this year, man, because you guys deserve to win that North. I don't know if I can deal with having Aaron Rodgers win that North anymore, bro. I know little by little they're not quite there yet, but I think little by little the Lions are starting to creep up a little bit, get a little better. They're still under the radar, and then I'm trying to think.
And the Bears are going to be bad this year.
Yeah. I can't wait to play the Bears week 1. I mean, anything can happen, especially starting a rookie quarterback. So I'm not going to sit there and say we're just going to beat them up. But if there was a team that I want Trey Lance to start against, definitely the Bears, and then Seattle without Russell Wilson. And then the true test would be Russell Wilson and the damn Broncos week 3. but we won't worry about that. If we're 2-0, I'm good. All right, my friend, I'm going to let you go. Otherwise, I will continue to talk and you will continue to listen out of respect, and I wouldn't want to do that to you. So, skol
right.
to your Vikings. Have a wonderful season, brother, and go and get the North, my friend. You guys deserve it.
Thanks again, Beto. Skol, everybody.
Skol. All right, my friend. Good night. That was my boy from the Vikings. Great guest, guys. I really, really enjoyed him. Thank you guys for tuning in. The Niners are 2-0 in preseason. It doesn't mean much. It's just preseason, but it was nice to win, right? I want to know, before I go and before I let you guys go, I want to know here in the comments, name me one player that you guys were impressed by. Who impressed you in today's victory over the Vikings? If you guys can share that with me, who impressed you against us, the Vikings? Who was the best player in your thoughts? And also, I did yesterday, I did a game prediction. I haven't tallied the winners. I have to go back and look at the video, find out who won. So most likely, I will do a live tomorrow with the winner. And again, the winner wins this beautiful 49er Niners for Life patch. The winner will get this patch. I will announce the winner tomorrow in my show. So stay tuned for that. I will put on the topic announcing the winner. So if you played and you gave me predictions, then you should check out that live. Give me 1 second. All right, so let me read the comments here. We got Brock Purley. Okay, he looked pretty good. I tend to agree with you, Robert. Both of our backup quarterbacks looked good moving the ball. Nate Stuffield threading the needle very well, throwing the ball into tight coverages, and he did great. A lot of our receivers did not do neither one of them any justice by dropping the ball. Juwan Jennings. I don't know what's going on with Juwan Jennings. I hope he can take care of this, because I think that Juwan Jennings can be a big part of this offense, but he has to work on those drops. He's been dropping the ball like it's nobody's business, and I hope that he can take care of that. But other than the drop balls, he looked pretty good. Mason looked incredible, Dina. Mason looked incredible. I agree with you 100%. David Villa says, Mason, buddy. I agree. I love the way Mason ran the ball. He ran it right down the middle. I love it. Robert says, Kinlaw. Am I blurry? Hold on, guys. Kinlaw really, really impressed me today. He is finally healthy. Whatever thing was hurting him on his knee, they finally got rid of that. He feels great. He doesn't feel that nagging pain anymore, and it showed today. It was going against a lot of the second and third string players, so but I still like what he did regardless. It would have been worse, right? He's going against the second and third, and he didn't do nothing. I love what Charlie Omenihu did. Drake Jackson, OMG. Drake Jackson looks the part, doesn't he? Doesn't he look the part? This kid looks like he's going to be special once he gets his feet underneath him. It looks like he's going to be Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa for years to come. I love it, man. I love it. And then what we saw today in Kinlaw in the middle, we already know what Eric Armstead can do. People don't realize how good this defense is going to be. All last year, in preseason games and in practices, in training camp and in preseason games last year, the Niners defense only had 9 takeaways. That's it. 9. In 2 preseason games, they already have 5 takeaways. I'm not including the special teams that they had today, but just in interceptions. They had 3 interceptions or takeaways in week 1, 2 today. That's 5. Altogether, including training camp, I believe they have 19 or 20 takeaways. Great improvement. This is without Shavarius Ward. This is without Emmanuel Mosley. This is without Jimmy Ward. When they come back, that secondary is going to be amazing. I love the way Lenore has been playing. Lenore has been stepping up his game. Embry Thomas has been stepping up his game. We found a gem in Samuel Womack III. This kid is special. We've seen a little bit of Castro Fields out there today. He looked promising. With that pass rush, that front 7 that we have, and now that the secondary can cover and not allow receivers to get open right away, guess what? Quarterbacks are going to have to hold on to the ball just a little bit longer than they normally used to. That's enough time for Bosa and company to get there. So I'm excited for what I seen today. Great win. Robert says Burford, Spencer Burford has been playing really good. What about Jason Poe? Nobody mentioned Jason Poe. Oh my God, this kid is on fire. Now I understand he's not playing against the ones, probably not even playing against the seconds. But this kid can anchor down. This kid can, he's a great run blocker. He opens up the lanes for the run game. I like Jason Poe. Is he going to make the 53-man roster? I don't know. Is there a possibility we cut him, try to bring him back to the practice squad, and he doesn't make it? I don't even want to think about that. Just like I don't want to think about cutting Jordan Mason either, hoping that he'll make the practice squad. Because we all know, if there's a team that loves to pick up our scraps, they are the Sea Chickens. That team loves to pick up our scraps. And I don't want to leave any scraps for them to pick up. So the cuts this year are going to be, I hate to be the Niners. I really do. The decisions they're going to have to make, it's going to be crazy. This whole draft looks promising. Kudos to Lynch and Shannon. Yeah. And the scouting, not only Lynch, but Adam Peters. Kudos to Adam Peters and the scouting team. They have done great. Talk about 5th round gems, starting with George Kittle, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga, and now Womack, the 3rd. Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round. Listen, I liked a little bit of what I saw in TDP, Ty Davis Price. But the Niners need to make a note to themselves. No more drafting running backs in the 3rd round. No more. Use those picks at other positions like linemen. No more drafting running backs. Because the Niners always draft running backs better in the lower rounds or undrafted. Elijah Mitchell, 6th round pick. Jordan Mason, undrafted free agent. Jeff Wilson Jr., undrafted free agent. So, note to Niners, no more drafting any running backs above the 6th round. It just doesn't work. we can definitely use those spots for other key positions. Beto, did you see good? Yes, I saw him. And being Latino, Hispanic myself, it was nice to finally see him. Now, for all those that got excited, pump your brakes. As much as I would love to see him cut into the 53-man roster, it's not going to happen. He's a developmental. I can't pronounce that word, but they're developing in him still. And I think they can bring him back into the practice squad. I don't think nobody's going to really pick him up. So, but he's getting better and better and better. And yes, I seen him do that block. He was awesome. So, with that said, number one defense. Hey, you wouldn't be wrong, David. People are sleeping on this defense. This defense, to me, looks promising and looks like they're going to be better than they were last year. And they lost a DJ Jones. They lost some key players, Arden Key. But the Niners seem to always have depth at every position. And that's what I love about the Niners and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. With that said, my friends, it's been an hour. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing, those that subscribed. And thank you for your participation in the comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for being part of the Niner Sickness podcast. May God continue to bless you and bless all your family with riches and health financially. May God continue to bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out with your boy Niner Sickness. Much love. And to the next show, your boy is out of here.